What's up, podcast fam? Welcome to another episode of the Uniquely Wired podcast. I'm your host, Nani, and on this episode, I am going to title it Fresh Start Adjusting as the School Year Begins. And I don't know about you, but the first few weeks of the school year were crazy. They were chaos. They were overwhelming. It was just a lot going on, a lot to take in. In my case, my daughter, who's 9, started fourth grade. It honestly comes with so much. I know I hear some autism parents say, it gets easier the older they get. I really think and believe it all depends on your child. Believe it or not, I think it does. And for me, it feels harder the older my daughter gets. And then my son, who's 6, started kindergarten. You guys know, if you've been listening, I kept him last year and I homeschooled him. So there has been lots of changes since the beginning of the school year already. And it's just crazy, right? Like, it's a lot to take in. I'm already getting ready for my daughter's IEP meeting, and then I have to schedule my son's IEP meeting. So, navigating two different IEPs, it's a lot. It is a lot. So if you are on that boat, girl, boy, I see you. So, the intention behind this episode is to really encourage my autism moms and dads as this new school year unfolds. Whether you're homeschooling, whether you're doing online school, whether you are sending your child to school physically, this is for you. So, I want to offer you some strategies to reset, find balance, and create intentional support for you but also for your child. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to start with a quick reflect and reset. So whatever you're doing, I want you to pause really quick and I want you to answer these two questions. Okay, answer these two questions, write them down if you can't answer them right away. What's working well so far? That's the first question. What is working well so far in your routine as the school year has begun? What's working well so far for you and your children? And the next question will be, what feels overwhelming? And I want you to write those down and I want you to look at both of them and see what's working well so far, because you want to keep doing whatever is working well so far, right? And then what's feeling overwhelming, you have to find a way, right, to ease that, ease it up. So I want you to answer those two questions. Like I said, write them down if you can't answer them in this very moment as you're listening. But I also want to remind you, and I'm looking at my notes, by the way, I want to remind you that it's okay to adjust routines. Nothing is set in stone. Okay? Life happens and you have to be okay with adjusting things around, moving things around, switching things around, however you want to say it, but you have to be okay with that. And there is nothing wrong with that. I know that sometimes we are so used to just following a specific schedule and following a specific routine. If not, your child is going to go crazy. You're going to go crazy. Listen, take a breather. It is okay. It's going to be okay. Nothing is set in stone. Life happens. Kids get sick. You get sick. Emergencies happen. Life happens. Period. I don't know how else to word it. It happens. And so you have to be okay with that. Um, but let's talk about some practical school year strategies, okay? And I'm going to give you 5 of those. Strengthen communication with teachers. That's the first one. Strengthen communication with teachers. If last year you found yourself where you weren't communicating well with the teacher, be the one to communicate, right? A lot of the times, and let me tell you, this is something I've learned as I have 2 children. To me, communication is key. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like it should come from the teacher because they are the ones with my children. But I have learned that it is okay for me to be the communicator. It is okay for me to teach the teacher, hey, I'm an involved parent. I want to know what's going on with my child. So make sure that you are strengthening those communication skills with the teacher and stop complaining so much and communicate with them. Stop expecting them to reach out. I had to take that out of my head. Believe it or not, I had to take it out of my head. And I know some of you are listening, maybe saying, well, that's their job. They need to communicate with us because they're with our children. And I get that. You have every right to feel that way because I felt like that for a very long time. But I have noticed and I have learned that I need to also put my part. And if I want to hear about my children's day, I have to also put my part and show the teacher that I want to know how my child's day was. Okay? So send a quick email, check in. How is my child adjusting? How are they doing? You know, share updates from home that can help support your children in school. So if something is working at home when they get overwhelmed or when they're having a meltdown, share that with the teacher. Like there is nothing wrong with you doing that. So I want you to start strengthening those communication skills with the teachers. Number 2, simplify routines. So if mornings or evenings or both feel rushed, see where you can cut extra steps. So if you feel like the list of your morning or evening routine or both, there's just a lot going on, pause and think, how can this routine be better? Not just for you, but for your child, right? But you want to make sure that that routine is simplified as simple can be because you want to make sure that you are not triggering a tantrum. You're not triggering a meltdown. You're not triggering a bad behavior. So you want to make sure that you are simplifying those routines. Something that can really help us, right, is using visual. Use a visual schedule with your child or index cards. If your child is older and they thrive better with you telling them, do that. If your child uses an AAC device, there are ways you can ask their speech therapist or you can look it up online on how to create a group where it has specific routines. So if you want to do a morning routine, create a group just for morning routine. This is what you're expecting from them. And that way they have that visual and they know, okay, it's morning. I need to brush my teeth. I need to, if they wear a diaper or pull up like my daughter and my son, change it, bathe them, get them ready, give them breakfast, get them settled for the day ahead. Same thing for the evening. Create a simple routine for bedtime. Don't add too much. If you want to be the type of mom or dad, because I know I'm that person that you want to read to your kids before they go to bed, it comes to a point where you might have to cut that because it's just too much going on. It's too much going on. The list, the routine has gotten too long and we need to cut it. So do that. Cut it down. Do what you can. Like, you're not going to be a terrible parent because you're not giving your child the perfect nighttime or morning routine. Number 3, support your child's emotional needs. So I want you to normalize, conversations about feelings after school. I personally ask my daughter and my son every single day I pick them up from school, how was school? How do you feel? And even if I don't get an answer from them, right? Because my son is non-speaking, he uses an AAC, and then my daughter is semi-verbal, still struggling on answering questions and really understanding the expectation. I still ask because I know and I believe deeply in my heart that one day they're going to be able to answer me, whether it's with their device or with their verbal words, right? So ask them. And if your child is verbal, take that opportunity, acknowledge their feelings and their emotions. Okay, how was school? Cool. Okay, if they tell you sad or upsetting, contact the teacher. We go back to that communication part with the teachers. Contact the teacher and let them know, hey, my son or my daughter expressed that they had a tough day. They had a sad day. I want to know exactly what happened because maybe, right, your child has a hard time fully telling you the story. And so this is why it's so important, right? So definitely support their emotional needs. I can tell when my children, even though they can't tell me, I can tell when they've had a tough day, when they've had a rough time. And a lot of the times, the teacher will tell me, hey, they had a rough day, or lunch was tough, or, math was hard, or reading was hard. Like, they'll tell me, right? Because they know that my daughter or my son, they can't really tell me or have this conversation with me. So I really appreciate when they tell me, hey, Eliana had a rough time during lunch, or Jacob had a hard time during transition, whatever that may be, because then I know that when they come home, I know how to meet those needs. I know not to put so much pressure on them as soon as they get home. I'm just going to let them be, right? It's just like us, guys. When we have a rough day, when maybe you work full time, when you're literally having such a rough day, and then you get home, like, the least that you want to do is to be bothered. That's it. You do not want to be bothered. You just want to be left alone. You want to chill. You want to have your time. So, same things with our kids. It's no different. It is no different. So, use sensory breaks, quiet time, or transition activities when coming home, just so you can let them know, okay, I'm acknowledging how you're feeling. So, I'm going to let you just chill. And I promise you, your kids will feel better. That evening routine, it's going to feel better because you have given them that space and that time. Um, okay, so that's very important. Number 4 is to build checkpoints for yourself. So pick one day each week to pause and reflect on how things are going. Okay, each week, pick one day of that week, and it might look different every week. Maybe one week you can do Monday, the next week you're going to be able to do Thursday or Friday or Wednesday, whatever it is. Pick one day every week where you can sit, reflect, and reset, and just look at your week and what it's looking like, what's working, what's been overwhelming for your child. Just really reflect. It is very important, and give yourself grace, okay? If the week feels messy, remember, progress, not perfection. So, give yourself that grace. I think I have to find myself telling myself, hey, it's okay. Like, you tried, and that's more than enough. That matters. That you tried, that matters. So always remember that. And last but not least, here's another one. Okay. Here's another strategy that I want to share with you, and that is lean into support. This is very important. Lean into support. You can't do things alone. You can't do everything, I would say, alone. Okay. Connect with other moms, whether it's online or in person. Don't be shy. Don't keep things in. Share. Talk to someone. If you see a mom that's at the store and you feel like you can connect with her, listen. Even if people think you're crazy, talk to their mom. Connect with her. You never know. Y'all might have so much in common. So it is important to have community. And you guys know I talk about that all the time. Share wins and struggles. Sometimes just knowing that you're not alone, makes all the difference. So make sure you lean into support. Okay. And, the other part to this episode is spiritual support and encouragement. Okay. Um, Here's a Bible verse that I want to share with you, and that is found in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31, where it reminds us that those who hope in the Lord renew their strength. So this applies to school year endurance too. Okay? So just keep that in mind and be encouraged by it. Um I also want to encourage you to bring school year anxieties to God daily. That's something that personally helps me when I go into prayer early in the morning before getting my day started, before getting the kids out of their rooms and getting them ready for school. Just going into prayer really helps me set the day and just get through the day. And I don't feel as anxious or as worry when I come to God first thing in the morning and leave my worries and my anxieties at His feet and just forget about it, right? Doesn't mean that throughout the day, those thoughts are going to creep in. But what it means is that I'm going to be able to control them. Okay. Because you can control your thoughts. You can control whatever you're doing. You can control it. That's called self control. And so it's a big thing to put into practice, but it's so worth it. And so that helps me, even if it's just a short prayer, even if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, I'm telling you, God hears you and He sees you. So don't ever think it's not enough. Um, so yeah, these are things that I really wanted to share with you because I know the school year is starting, and I mean the school year has already started, but you know what I mean? Like it's so much. And so we just want to remember as we end this episode to reflect, reset, simplify routines, strengthen communication with those teachers and therapists, and lean into support and anchor your faith, okay? Anchor yourself in faith. And I would say that even though the school year has already started, it's never too late, okay, for a fresh start. Remember that small shifts can create big peace. Okay? Remember that. Small shifts can create big peace. Okay? So I just want to let you know that you've got this, mom and dad. You can get through this school year. Even if the beginning has been looking messy, has been looking chaotic, it doesn't look like anything good is going to come out of it, I promise you it's going to be okay. Remember, God is writing your story. Everything is going to be okay. Shift your mindset. Surround yourself with people that are uplifting, that are positive, and you're going to get through this. Okay? So thank you so much for listening. I hope and pray this episode has blessed you and that it has come just at the right time when you need it. I'll see you again on another episode of the Uniquely Wired podcast.